Hello YouTube, it is Pirate on the Run, back again with another Kerbal Space Program video. So what you're seeing right now is a new experiment I'm trying of just putting in some, I guess, time-lapse is not really the correct word, but it's, something close to that. It's just a sped-up recording of first me designing the new Mun Tug, because I hate that old one with the probe so much, and then you'll get to see some quote-unquote test flights, and, excuse me, and then the actual mission of going up to, like, replace the old one. Kind of blanked for a moment there. So, yeah, I don't think this is how I'm exactly going to format in the future. I'll try and probably mix some post-commentary with live commentary, and just do, like, a sped-up version of building the ship, since it's usually not the fastest process. I mean, I think this one took, like, maybe 20-25 minutes, and you'll see in a moment here, there's a little moment where I just paused because I got distracted. I think I was watching a YouTube video, one of Doc M77's Farming Simulator 2013 videos or something. But yeah, it's going pretty well, and you can see here I was just struggling with my design a little bit. I thought about changing up the center console, I don't know where I got that from, the center stack of fuel tanks, since I always have plenty of fuel. But then I was like, I like having plenty of fuel. So I changed it back to the kind of normal setup of 3 fuel tanks. And then here is just me attaching the fuel lines and everything. And this is a lot better than the last take, because I tried to record this yesterday when the video was actually recorded, but Windows Movie Maker, because I have not yet invested in a fancy editing program, and I don't think I will until I kind of got a more serious reason to do so, which basically means once I've been doing this longer and have a larger following and stuff, and I think it's actually worth it to spend a large amount of money on an editing software, because Sony Vegas is a few $100, I think. So right now I'm just stuck with Windows Movie Maker, and when I tried to record the narration, it didn't seem to understand that the video was sped up, so I ended up talking for half an hour and wasting all that time on the commentary. Not sure if it was the best commentary in the first place, but it's pretty frustrating to lose that amount of work. But that's in the past. I'm over it. So now you just saw I just finished it up and adjusted the staging, and we'll see where the first mistake comes in a moment. And you'll notice that our crew is Jebediah and I believe Bob. So we're going to have the original gang there, and as you might have seen, the launch stabilizers weren't part of the first staging group, so I started the engines and they were still there. And then I just added some more struts because I thought the center stack looked a little bit wobbly. So now we're going up on our flight. The synth is pretty normal. This thing's very powerful though. It's just very fast. Despite my attempts to like slow the speed down a little bit before the gravity turn, it just goes really fast. And the rotation got kind of crazy there, which surprised me because I put fins on for reasons, because I don't like the ship randomly spinning a ton. But it didn't really seem to do much. And so you'll see here now, just trying to pick up horizontal velocity, and it explodes. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that either. And like I said, some live commentary would have been funny there. I think maybe the way this kind of works is I just record the whole play session, I'd speed up the building process, and then make some excerpts of test flights, because that probably would have been pretty funny. I would have been quite surprised by that. In fact, I was. But the recording would have been pretty funny. So here now, tried to address the problem, and we are on our 3rd launch now. Although one of them never got off the ground, I guess it still counts because I pressed the launch button. So here we are again on our ascent, and as you can see, it's just pretty basic. Like, I was gonna talk about how fast it was again, but there wasn't a huge point, although I just brought it up anyways. Yeah, it's interesting. I just watched earlier today another Scott Manley video. He's really a great YouTuber and stuff. He makes a lot of funny, entertaining videos and some very informative ones. And he was just talking about how many people are just not good at orbiting and make tutorials teaching you the wrong thing. And so I think I'll try and apply some of the stuff I learned from that. But you see here that I'm way ahead of that, so I decided to get into a higher orbit, although at this point it looks like it's going to catch me up before I finish the circularization burn, since the delta V difference is pretty high. But then it doesn't end up happening, so it's good that I was in that higher orbit. And you'll see here the next fail will come up in a moment. And yes, the engines exploded. Now, I realized after I started spinning this thing for no reason, and it looks like it's going incredibly fast at 4 times speed, but it wasn't really that fast, is the cubic octagonal struts I put on were in 4 times symmetry, and they clipped through the nuclear engines. Now I thought, I was like, okay, game's letting me do it, shouldn't mess anything up, and it'll make it more rigid. But as soon as I separated the stage, they blew up. So now we fixed that, and this will be our actually successful flight. After I mess up at the time warp a little bit, and just jump the lunar exploration vehicle around, finally get it into place, and I'll start the 4th launch of this mission. Although thankfully Jeb and Bill never died, and well, I guess they really would have on that second test flight, since they had no engines or parachutes or anything in that capsule. But they did not, and they're now heading up into the sky to join Bill and Limney, I believe is the other brave Kerbonaut's name, up there in the lunar exploration vehicle. And this time it will work out. So as you can see here, going up for our 3rd orbital burn, setting everything up, and this time I did get it kind of like the right separation so that it was really pretty well synced up with the lunar exploration vehicle. And as you can see, we got close enough for it to count as an encounter right at the apoapse here. And then as I just burn into orbit with the copious amounts of fuel and thrust I am provided by that middle lifter stage, I get into, I believe it's a 12.6 kilometer what's it called, close encounter. Kind of blanked there for a moment. And so then I just started canceling out my relative velocity. And here I decided to actually orbit smart and move over to the left of the pink marker, which is the direction I'd face towards to get towards the M.E.V, and burn onto it. That way you save a lot of delta V with the same effect of actually getting your prograde marker straight towards it. And normally I probably would have gotten up to over 100 meters per second of delta V on that burn and wasted a lot of fuel, which I would have to use to both stop it and start it once I got closer. But I actually played a bit smarter this time, and after 2 short easy burns and very little fuel used up, we're now coasting into around within 200 meters of it. So from here we'll start the even more delicate orbital ballet that is required to get close to a ship, switch to it, detach one part, dock to that part, then tug over to the other ship and siphon fuel and detach the other part. And what I'm saying by that is what I do is I get in close here. I believe I'm about 30 meters away. Then I switch over to this ship and detach the old Mun Tug. I RCS it away a little bit and then stop it, and I put away the solar panels too. Then I'm going to just bring up the new Mun Tug and dock to that just so I can get my fuel back, because I want to have a full fuel load without having to dock with the Priopazinski station right now. Just going to make the mission one straight thing. And so as you can see, it just time warping in here. And this part is pretty simple, and now I'm really glad that I put on those 2 docking ports, because I actually did it since, again, with Scott Manley, I've been following his series on the 100% reusable space program, and he made a Mun Tug with a docking port at each end, and I thought that's a good idea, because that way you can carry more stuff if you feel the need to. So I did it, and it ended up working out quite well, because it's really helpful here that I could pull this thing in and still dock to the lunar exploration vehicle. So here I realize I gotta rotate my engine so that they don't hit it, and I just back up and dock. So now those 2 are connected very easily, and we're going to slide over towards the lunar exploration vehicle. And it's interesting, because while on one hand I don't want to have to talk for the 40 minutes it took to record this, it's also quite hard to explain everything when it's happening 4 times faster than it did. Like, I was running out of things to say a little bit on the original commentary that got scrapped, but now I kind of can't fit everything in. It's weird. And as you can see here, I'm just adjusting the M.E.V so it points towards the docking port, just to make my life a bit easier. And now they're all docked happily, and I'll just do some quick fuel transferring. So this is pretty simple, just getting everything topped off. And then I think I mess around with the action groups a little bit more, trying to just get everything set up right, because they all get combined, which is kind of frustrating when you dock the ships together. And now I mess with the crew exchange of getting Limney into the Tug and Jeb into the Moon Exploration Vehicle, so he can be our first brave Kerbal explorer on the Moon in this world. But the problem was that when you switch to the jetpack, it puts you in, like, I'm not sure what cam mode it is. I think it's, chase cam, because you always, when you turn around, the camera turns with you, and it's really hard to control. And I kept floating away, but I was able to get it under control and bring Jet back in. Of course, it was much slower in real life, and I was a bit worried actually by how far away he ended up. But everything worked out, and I got the crew transferred, and now I thought I could just end the flight, but you know what? I want to watch this thing crash, because I really hated this tug. It was just so unresponsive and sucky, and I ended up trying to get it to land at KSP, but although my last experience with the shallow descent angle ended up with me, and you notice here, that was at 4 times speed in game, and it was still that slow to turn. So trust me, the thing's no fun. But it ended up that I landed way closer. I tried to boost up with the engines, but I realized that nuclear engines are just far too weak. So now we'll just get to watch it crash into the surface and the solar panels break off. And with the end of this, I'm going to thank you guys for watching. Next video, I'll actually fly the mission over to the moon. But I hope that's nice, and I just take some time screenshotting here, which gives me a good way to close out the video. So, like I said, next video, moon mission, hopefully better editing. Thanks for watching, guys. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and have a nice day.